Stick with me as we figure out what the Mandela Effect has to do with the 4400. Well, my cat didn't want to talk about this, so he left. But are we like the 4400? And no, I'm not actually referring to anything out of the Bible. I'm not a Bible scholar. I think there is something about Revelations in 144,000 people, something about the tribulation. I don't know. I'm sure I've got a lot of Christians that watch me, so I'm sure you guys can discuss who those people are. Before we get too deep into this, I did want to mention something. There's a lot of theories about why this happened, and there's a lot of good theories, and they all sound right. So I am just putting an idea out there. I am not saying one is right, and I know what happened. I don't. I have no clue, really. But I think it's okay to start discussing some of this, because this is what people are asking for, some listening. But I want you to understand that this is just kind of an idea I had. And we will address lots of other popular theories later on. I think I'll probably just do like the main ones going around that sound right to me, and maybe spotlight each one in a different video. So let's get back to it. There was an old TV show in the 1990s called The 4400. And if you never saw it, it's actually kind of a neat show, but it's a sci-fi show. And what happens is all these people from about 50 years get, for a better term, abducted. They just disappear. It's kind of like alien abduction, where they just get taken away and no one ever knows what happens to them. And then they all return at the same time, kind of like a large ball of light comes and dumps them all in one place. And they don't have any memories of being gone. And they come back and they have powers where, to kind of help change the reality they just arrived at. So it's kind of a clumsy analogy, but I'm trying to explain that better. That there's many people, when I read these comments and threads, that think that we came over from a different reality, and we're here for a higher purpose. As in, a couple thousand people came over, maybe tens of thousands at this point, I don't know, and they're still coming over, but they seem to be, like, if you look at the old poll I did, not old, it's only a few days old, but the poll back in another story, almost everybody's empathic. They describe themselves as empathic and with a huge distrust of the government. Those were like the two overwhelming poll answers. So they feel like they're here for something higher, and what happens with the Mandela Effect is there's this certain shock at first where you just get obsessed and they're like, is this really happening? And you bury yourself in your computer and watch videos, and after a while that shock wears off, kind of like I seriously consider it the same sort of steps as when someone dies. There's that whole grief period and acceptance, and you finally get to a point where you accept this. And once you do, it's very peaceful. Like, you're like, okay, there's something's going on here that's way bigger than this reality. Either, there really is an afterlife, or there's really other realities. There's something besides this crappy existence. And it's a very empowering feeling, because it means that your consciousness does not die. It goes somewhere else. That to me is very freeing. I'm not scared to die anymore, or of death, because I feel like this reality is just kind of one big fake reality. If you can just skip around like this, and changes can happen. So I'm going to circle back here to the 4400. In the show, what they find out eventually, and this is spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the show, you cover your ears, but what they find out is that people abducted them from the future and reinserted them back into this reality, their new reality, to affect it. they basically did a map of the past and said, if we can grab these 4,400 people and change them a little bit and drop them back in the timeline, they can save humanity way in the future. That just the decisions of these 4,400 will save everybody. So they were inserted into a timeline to do good things and bring everybody else up. Many people feel that is one theory. Now, believe me, there's a million theories out there about the popular ones about CERN ripping a hole in space-time, and quantum computers and D-wave machines. And I'm not discrediting any of that. And I honestly think that some of the theories could mesh together, that there's probably more than one right. And there is an overwhelming thread I'm seeing emerging that people feel like they're here to do something better. That the stuff that used to really bug them and weigh them down, the negativity and the people getting to them, don't seem to affect them like they used to. They seem to be able to get over whatever was holding them back in the last reality. And I think that's a really good thing, because it's hard to change your perspective and your focus and shake all that stuff off. And some reason this change has allowed a lot of people to move forward in their life. Once they get past that initial shock phase, again, that first couple weeks is pretty hard. So if you're watching this and you're new to the Mandela Effect, just hang in there. It does get easier. You will drive yourself bananas if you watch every single thing out there, because there's so many people out there that are just so heavy left brain logic. They just refuse to accept what's going on, and they have to figure out, why is this happening? There's got to be a scientific explanation, and there's some sort of proof kind of left, this residual proof all over the place. So there is kind of a little scientific evidence that this is happening. But I prefer to take it again from a place of faith, that this is more spiritual than not, and that if you just live in that area of logic, all left brain, it's going to be a rough transition for you. Notice that a lot of the people in the threads have some sort of spirituality or religion connected, and they seem to accept this a lot better, and they're getting a lot more out of this. It's a positive experience. I think many people change in their life. That I was, talk to me 10 years ago, and I wasn't that spiritual at all. I was almost, I would say, an atheist. But then you start having experiences in your life that you can't explain, and feelings that are real, and it changes you. I mean, geez, I am not the person I was 10 years ago, and that's pretty evident. If you go back and look at some of my old videos and books, they're not positive things. I wasn't in a good enough place to be where I am now. And I leave them out there because I think it's a history of who I was. I mean, it's a truth. I'm not going to try to bury it. We've all changed. Think about who you were 10 years ago, right? We've all changed a little bit. So point being, let's get back to, I don't know how I keep getting off the 4,400 here. This is the question I leave out there. Do you feel that we were reinserted into this reality, that we slid over to do good things and maybe bring the vibration or energy level, or however you describe it, bring this reality to a more positive place? I do feel that for some reason, some of us are a lot more open to being awake, or maybe even being brought here. I feel that just because the overwhelming comments, I mean, it would sound arrogant otherwise, like, oh, they just picked us, we're the chosen, and that's not what I'm trying to get at. It's more of, I look at the comments and everybody's like, I feel like something great has happened spiritually to me, and I think if we are evolving, or we're becoming closer to spiritual enlightenment, I think that helps that we all talk about it if you feel like that change is happening, that you're letting go of old negative vibrations and stuff and bad feelings and moving to a better place, I think we should acknowledge it, that that's a really good thing, and it will bring you an inner peace if that's happening to you. It's definitely happening to me. I just want to find out how common it is out there. Are a lot of you other guys experiencing this, or is this just like a few people that are monopolizing the comments and chatting? Because I base a lot of what I see on the comments. And my girlfriend, I'm not on Facebook, but she'll show me some Facebook threads once in a while. So I'll be like, oh yeah, I saw this on Facebook. If something's important, she'll pull it up and show it to me. And I kind of feel that there is this wing of people in the Mandela Effect that feel that we were reinserted into this reality to help bring it up. So I'd like your thoughts on that. Also, if this is your very first time you've been to my channel, I am not actually a Mandela channel, although it's like seems to be becoming that. I have these people that watch my channel that think that's all I do, and then they get mad if I don't do Mandela stories at me. I will keep doing them because people are asking for them. But my channel is actually a variety channel, so you can go back for 7-8 years and see some very different stories, and a lot of them are good stories. I make some pretty decent stories out of the bad ones, right? There's a couple good ones. You can check those out. Another thing is I have a website. It's terranlupo.com, and if you go sign up at